Murray, and I'm here with the lovely Heather today. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about, she's invited me here. It's a great honor to talk a little bit about, whatever I wanted to, but I hope this is useful for everybody. I just really wanted to talk a little bit about, how we achieve depth when we work, and specifically around the neck. It's an area that I think a lot of therapists are leaving money on the table, probably literally, with an inability to access some of this, the deeper musculature of the neck, or at least give that sensation of deeper contact. And so, how do we do that? I mean, for me, certainly, normally when I'm working on the neck, I've taken the client through a whole experience. So let's just imagine that Heather is already in a deep state of relaxation and enjoyment here. And so what I'd like to do with the neck is maybe I visualize it in successive layers. So, first I might want to make sure that she's well positioned for this neck work. Just lifting her chest up and letting her breathe is one thing. And this is, already that is placing her neck in a different position. We can continue with that if I shift over her left shoulder and place a hand there, maybe at T8, something like that, and another one here on the soft tissue at the sternum. And I'm going to just ask her to take a deep breath. And all I'm doing here is that bottom hand is moving down and away from the spine, and this top hand is I'm just grasping superficial fascia here. So what I've already done is kind of spatula my hands underneath Heather. And just enough, lifting with stiff fingers here, just enough to get that sternum to come up, that chest to come up and come open. And I'm making sure that she's getting a nice deep breath here, because that's what's going to move this anterior tissue, open up that the chest. And we're opening the chest this way and from side to side. The next thing I like to do here is just scoop hair out of the way. The hand comes under, and some of this is I'm getting in the way a little bit here, so you'll forgive me, people or editor. And so what I'm doing is coming again, doing a similar stiff finger lift, and combining that with just superficial grasp of this soft tissue here. Then I ask her to take a deep breath. I'm taking that posterior stuff down and away from the spine, and this anterior tissue up and away. And then I'm securing that scapula down, and then maybe just some nice kind of milking petrissage, if you can see that there. Looks great. My goodness.
It feels fantastic. Oh my goodness. I feel such a stretch actually down from my neck down to the
all the way through your arm.
Yeah.
So again, I notice that I actually secure the sheet so that I can work that hand underneath. And then the same side of this, now I'm on this side of the spine. Take a nice deep breath there, if you would, Heather. Taking that posterior tissue down and away from the spine. Taking this superior stuff up and away from the spine. And this can be done, if you're doing this with more fine, it can be done with a narrower tool, and it can be done at numerous locations all along the sternum and up to this the shoulder. And all this is really doing is we're setting up the position of the head and neck for some deeper work. And also warming up the neck. So some of that is a stiff finger lift there from the upper thoracic all the way through the occipital there. And I mean, we're just we're firing a warning shot here for these tissues. We're coming for them. And so, and I just turn away, and I can scoop out this hair. This is hopefully a nice feeling stroke. And we're going to start, like, I already, so part of the warm-up here is, I mean, I'm confident, for one, with Heather, and I'm confident with my ability to contact as a therapist here. So I'm going to start in with a nice stretchy stroke here. And I would call this a superficial stroke, gently securing her head here. And I'm kind of still, and there's the beginning step here, which is contact and negotiation. I'm receiving before I'm giving. You know, she is flowing into me before I flow into her here. And so sinking until I can ground that loose fist there. And I'm just tracing that clavicle. You know, and this to me is just a nice superficial stroke. Up a little higher, so I'm just anterior to that upper trap, and taking that stroke again back towards the scapula. And then I like to switch hands, and so here still what I'm doing is, like, this is going to be the tool that I'm using here, just right along that that first bone of the index finger. And then and what I want to do is engage, and then here is this period of negotiation. I'm experiencing her state before I'm delivering pressure. And so this is still, I would call this still superficial. I'm stroking towards the spine and in an inferior direction. And this element of allowing this moment of negotiation before the work happens is how you're going to avoid a lot of pain, let's say. So allowing this moment is here. I'm contacting her, letting her know here I am, and I'm sinking to depth. That's a step on its own. And once I have a nice contact, once I'm performing a technique that I feel good about, I'm going to take my time and trust the process here. You know, I am not in a hurry to get out of this. In fact,
I'm not in any hurry for you to get out of it.
Right. Well, and all of the time where I spend, all the time I'm spending between meaningful contacts, that is what I want to hurry out of, which you can't really do. I mean, hurrying is not part of the process here.
No, I repeatedly say that it takes time and patience, and you don't need to hurry through your strokes.
And I'm just trying to find, and all I'm doing is each time is what's allowing me to work to provide this contact to her is that, in fact, each time I'm coming to contact, and I am not providing pressure yet. What I'm doing is feeling and waiting. I'm waiting for her to push back in a way. I'm waiting to receive this sensation. And once I have it, I am engaged here. Now I feel like I've found the muscle that I want to interact with.
Way of putting it.
And then I'm mostly going to step back and let it happen. And again, this tool here. The other tool down here on this part of the neck, I'm working more with those first two knuckles. And here it's more, I'm just trying to find posterior to that sternocleidomastoid is where I am right now. And then sinking in and working posteriorly and letting it go inferior. You're going to find the upper trap here. You're going to find that levator as you stroke here. So there are some choices along the way. Take your time. Similar tool, a little higher on the neck. Now I'm inferior to that occiput, is what I would say. And very gentle contact here. And if anything, my other hand is gently contacting here. This is the message of stay cool. You know, if this hand, if my left hand is tight, you know, like right. This is in fact, if anything, this hand is shh. You see what I mean? Is there's a good cop, bad cop going on here with these two hands. And so we've opened up this superficial layer of the lateral and posterior neck at this point. And I'm giving her a moment to breathe and adjust to this new reality. And so a deeper contact can be, what I often do, so here's one way to achieve more depth, is I'm gonna make sure that she is up against my arm here. So you see, this is my right hand is working across to her left side. And I'm finding a spot. And then I'm just making sure, again, my good cop comes in at the opposing side of the head. And I'm just going to bring her in here and then say, so if you would, Heather, just go ahead and gently, nice and slow, roll your head to the left.
To the right.
To the right. Thank you very much. See, she's a great client as well. Now, at any point, you know, I want to let her know at any point she can stop here. But same thing, I'm finding a place higher on that upper trap, and just really, and I can say bring your head back to neutral is one thing, but often they will stop. So I want to make sure that I'm giving myself, bringing her gently, gently, gently against my other arm is giving me as much slack to sink as deeply as I can here, and I'm pinning that tissue in place. Go ahead, nice and slowly roll your head to the right, Heather, and just stop whenever you feel like you want to. And I can stroke with this here. I feel like she's
right there.
Yeah, and I'm sort of getting to that levator a little bit. How's that pressure, Heather?
Perfect. It hurts so good, range.
Yeah, good. And now, like, really, I want, see, I'm here again. I'm going to come to a similar tool just posterior to that sternocleidomastoid. You can see that right there. Yeah. So just posterior there. Again, now so I've switched hands. You see my right hand is now good cop. And I'm sinking in. And I want to make sure, like, we can take this more anterior, and there's an increase in vulnerability. So what I'm doing right now is there's a very, very much a firm, solid backing here. If you're on sternocleidomastoid, you're like, oh, it feels squishy. There's important stuff there. You know, it's a different sensation. So I'm going to sink in right there, and I'm getting that first bone of the index finger and that first knuckle right in across this. This is like the splenius capitis, splenius cervicis, capitis rectus, you know, all those. And I'm just actually contacting there. I'm turning her head to make sure I have enough space to access and sinking in. And then I'm going to bring her towards me. And I've got that muscle that I want to interact with. So let's go ahead and roll your head to the right and just stop whenever you would like, Heather.
Feels good there.
And I'm just really being patient. My left hand is holding fast. I'm not going to let her get off easy here. And as it goes, I am stroking posteriorly, inferiorly, and just letting the movement, letting the feel of the tissues guide me. You got a little earring out of the way. And again, same tool up a little bit higher. I'm going to bring her back. And see, I feel that right there. And that is, and see, this is now what I'm starting to feel here. And the whole idea of feeling for what information, for information from the client is, in fact, this is where I feel depth all the way to the spine. I'm not pressing on the spine, but I'm feeling the quality of movement suddenly in that spine. What does that mean? It does feel like, hey, there's a little bit of limitation there that I push up against. I mean, what does that feel like to you, Heather?
Like you're hitting a barrier.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's certainly
but it
right.
doesn't
It feels suddenly. I'm like, oh, it's sticky there, and that's fine.
Stuck.
So I get it right here, and I'm just going to sink to that same spot. Go ahead, roll your head to the right, if you would, please. And I'm feeling for that, that lack of mobility. I'm feeling the tissue be pulled out from under those knuckles of my left hand, and I'm just patiently making choices.
I can't wait to watch this video.
I think it's going to be long. It's like
a
about 14
tutorial
minutes here.
for my clients this week.
So and again now I'm like, so the last one that I'm going to do on this way is I'm coming all the way up to that occiput, and I'm even feeling bone here. I'm feeling not just bone. I'm feeling skull on that upper side of this tool. And again, I'm going to bring her back this way just a little bit, and it's like I really feel that stickiness here. Like I'm directly at it here. And so, I mean, I'm just, that's far enough for her to come back in my view here. Let's go ahead and have roll to the right. She's rolling, feels really good. And I'm concentrating on kind of tracing that occiput. I want to maintain solid contact to that soft tissue, but I really want to make sure I'm feeling the skull there with that left hand. And go ahead, tuck your chin, look at your toes just a little bit. And that just opens up that space at the base of the neck. And immediately I'm going to let her, because that's the most one now we've bent her all out of shape. I'm going to bring her back to neutral. And take her through that process there. And now just with that, we've worked deeply on the neck, on this left side especially. Now, so there are a couple more things that we could do here. One being, I can hook in a little more aggressively towards the anterior aspect of the neck. This is, I mean, and what you're doing is you're playing between the nervous and arterial flow here. So you got to take extra care. But what I can do is just now, I mean, I hook in here and I'm superficial, and I'm going to take it back here. Now go ahead, roll your head to the right, Heather.
I can feel it loosening for sure.
Yeah, and so this is something that you're going to want to take great care when you provide these techniques. What I'm not doing is starting here and pushing towards the center of the neck, pushing towards her midline here. What I'm doing more, if anything, is I'm hooking the superficial layer and taking that tissue I've grasped posteriorly. So here's that line. I can get right in front of that, just a hair. And go ahead, roll your head to the right, Heather. And I'm really pushing back. And this I can trace towards that occiput here as well. Tuck your chin, look at your toesies, and then relax right there. Good. Yeah, that's an intense one.
That feels good though. I can feel the fascia being stretched and pulled from in my face all the way out.
And this is partly like this stuff. What I would like my students to do is think more about the body in general in the third dimension. And so it's not just about, we don't want to think, I mean, it's good to think about, oh, we have to return a natural curve to the neck. It's good to think, oh, we have to open the chest. However, the opening of the chest, like we referenced earlier, the opening of the chest is happening in 3 dimensions, not just in this plane. You know, and the same thing with when we start working on the neck, it's like, how can we allow this to achieve a more natural curve? And part of that answer is loosening and opening this, and giving that anterior neck freedom to move.
Beautiful.
It's like, and we're pushing 20 minutes now. You want me to, let me do your other side, and we can just leave it going. I'll work on the other side.
Oh my God, that was great. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. That was awesome. Because honestly, I'm so...
Go ahead and roll.
It's so perfect that you were talking about depth, because that's another thing that I wanted to address down the road, is the whole thing about depth and you know.
Well, and I guess one way to say it, now that you're mentioning it, like, just is that what I'm noticing is, like, part of it is, in fact, I'm letting the depth come to me to a great degree with this kind of work.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, you see what I'm saying is I'm taking you here, and and that's firm.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and roll your head to the left. And now I am basically not moving, and you're creating depth for me.
Right.
And this is and I'm just here along for the ride, feeling your state, feeling this tissue be pulled out from under the tool. And so I'm just tracing back, and I'm feeling like I start to get up against the upper trap, you know what I mean? And there's that levator is what I'm feeling right there as well. And it's like, and as I feel the levator, I could say, tuck your chin, go ahead, look down at your toes. And I push down, she pulls, and it creates extra length there. Does that feel extra length when you do that?
Oh yeah.
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 So now here, this first one, I'm going to go deep, but I'm behind that sternocleidomastoid. I'm even just barely touching the scalenes here, I believe. And so I'm going to bring her back as comfortably as I can. Go ahead, roll to the left. And that secondary hand, it's a great opportunity to keep, to provide emotional tone for your client. Often, especially if we're working deeply, the primary tool can be perceived as an instrument of aggression. You don't want to be, and so it's like this is that, and that's honestly, that is maybe why the good cop bad cop is a good paradigm, because the whole point is here. I am offering this opportunity for change, and I want to tell her it's okay.
I love it.
Okay, and so I'm bringing her back again. Go ahead, roll to the left. And as you start to work in this way with your clients, you'll notice they're going to start leading the way a little more, which is going to make your work more effective. And I'm going to get that one at the occiput here. I feel skull. Go ahead, roll to the left. Yeah, that's a sticky one. Roll to the left. And then as I get into this, then I'm going to say, once I feel like I'm firmly connected to this posterior aspect, I'm going to say, go ahead, tuck your chin, look down at your toes, please, Heather. And then relax into that position. Good. And immediately bring her back. And again, and what I'm doing is, if this is, especially if you feel this is intense for your client, I'm right back here. See what I mean?
Comfort.
Yeah.
It's like you're giving the comfort after the aggression.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not too aggressive.
It's not too aggressive. It is definitely on the more aggressive side, but I would say it's equally effective as it is aggressive.
Well, and you want to this is why you want, part of this period of negotiation and contact and receiving before transmitting is giving your client the opportunity to lead the way and finding that appropriate depth. It has to be a step that you take each time when you're doing deep work. I couldn't agree
more, because honestly, we are just facilitating change in our clients. We you know what I mean? We're helping them and their bodies to help themselves through some manual contact. But after all, you know, it's the client is responsible for breathing and relaxing and focusing on the work also. So it is
Right.
kind of symbiotic.
And I do think that the more that you can empower them to participate in the work, the more effective it's going to be, the more lasting your work will be.
Agreed.
Because what you're doing is engaging their sensitivity and
setting
awareness,
an intention.
and that's an Edward Maupin thing, is awareness makes the change.
Yeah, awareness and an intention. When you set
Right.
the intention, and you let your client know about that intention, and we work towards that intention together.
And I mean that's something you want to be engaged in. That's part of this exchange here. Is I want to contact, and then I'm saying, what can I feel? So I'm imagining anatomy here, and I'm saying and I move her, and then I say, well, like there's this stiffness. Where is that coming from? Let's feel that. Go ahead, roll your head to the left there. I'm feeling that pull out from under my tool here. And I'm feeling for that stiffness throughout the range of motion. What does that feel like? Tuck your chin just a little bit. Look down at your toes. There. And then relax into that position, if you would, please. And now there's a lot more work to be done here. I mean, when you're finishing this kind of stuff, oftentimes what you want to do is maybe just like a stiff finger lift. You could certainly use narrower tools around the occiput or all over that neck. But this is a great opportunity. Now what we did is we worked our hands under her thoracic spine, opened her chest, and then we've lengthened and hopefully returned a little bit of movement to some of those cervical segments. And then, I mean, like I said, maybe I'm skipping over some narrow work, but then I'm just bringing her into a place to line up this work we've done and allow her to relax into it. You know, letting her neurological system take stock of the new status quo, the new reality.